To me, IB is a learning community that inspires all of us fellow students, IBers we call ourselves, to achieve the best that we can, to strive beyond our limits and to really to learn at a college level and really be excited about what we're learning. So.
I could sum it up in one word: perseverance.
IB to me has been my high school experience.
I feel more prepared for the college life with having taken these classes.
Now that I'm almost done with it, I'm so glad I did it, and it's a completely worthwhile experience that I would recommend to anybody that is thinking they might be up for it.
Well, the International Baccalaureate program started as a program for kids of ambassadors in the 60s. They designed this program for those students, and they designed it with a very high level standards of assessment. In doing that, they looked at it and said, we really have something here. And then it grew from there. It grew throughout Europe, and then it grew throughout the rest of the world. The program itself promotes a sense of international understanding in whatever area it happens to be. Whether it's history, whether it's science, whether it's art. It allows students a better understanding of international academics in that they are in the same learning pool as kids all over the world.
The International Baccalaureate program at Hilton High School is a comprehensive, rigorous, pre-university course of study. Students in the program engage in challenging assignments and activities and are part of an international group of learners who share a common curriculum. The IB program helps students develop their natural curiosity, learn how to explore local and global ideas and concepts, and think critically and creatively. As IB students, they become effective communicators and principled and open-minded individuals who show compassion and respect toward others. They also learn to explore new concepts, balance their intellectual, physical, and emotional well-being, and reflect on their learning experiences. The IB diploma requires students to take part in an interdisciplinary course of study that includes 6 core high-level subject areas along with classes in the theory of knowledge and creativity, action, and service. Students are also required to complete an extended essay. The program is designed to offer students the option to either earn an IB diploma or individual IB course certificates. As part of a global community of learners, teachers at Hilton work together and in conjunction with IB educators throughout the world. Student work is assessed by Hilton and international IB educators. With a strong emphasis on international understanding and challenging curriculum, this program meets the needs of highly motivated students during their junior and senior year of high school.
Always do more than what's asked of you. Remember, when we do portfolio, you ask the question, what if? So
I really enjoyed IB math. Not a lot of people say that they like math class. Calculus is just cool. I just really like calculus because of the way that numbers work, and it's amazing how, like, you find a derivative and you have all these rules and you think, well, how are those rules going to work, because they seem so random, because you like multiply the exponent and subtract 1, but somehow they do it. I just always find that really fascinating.
The IB math program allows the students to study the mathematics at a deeper level than the regular pre-calculus class. We do more theory, and it's more of a college prep, so we don't spend as much time reviewing as the regular classes do. So students who come back from college often come to us and say they really felt over-prepared when they went to their college math classes. The IB portfolio is an opportunity for the students to basically write a 10 or 15 page paper in mathematics, which is a real challenge for them, but really overall a rewarding experience to be able to communicate mathematically, justify their work, and explain their thought process in solving problems.
What you're going to have the opportunity to do today is to have complete freedom in how you design your lab. So it's an inquiry lab, and part of that piece is that it's student directed. So you're going to observe the reaction, you're going to watch the reaction, and then I'm going to give you the opportunity to decide on an investigation question with a group. And you're going to decide on whatever question it is you want to find an answer to, and you're going to figure out how you can answer it by designing some trials of data that you're going to do. You're going to collect your data, and in the end of our double period, you'll use your data to actually answer your investigation questions. You're going to get
We decided to vary the temperature instead of the concentration, so we're going to keep all the amount of the substances the same, but with the temperature, we're going to vary it about 5 degrees. It's difficult to exactly do it because the Bunsen burner isn't exact, but we're going to keep our 2 of our 3 substances constant with temperature.
They're staying at room temperature, they're not being heated.
And we're going to just see what happens when we take one of our substances and heat it up at a constant rate.
It's rigorous at times, but other times you do like experiments that are fun, and you get to use different things that you learn throughout the year to figure out like an equation or something. You got to pull things from the past, and it's challenging but fun at the same time. It's pretty much worth it.
It's the only ones I had.
Andy.
Yesterday, or the day before, I gave you this. It's on the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. So if you take that out, we're going to be working on that this morning. Gulf of Tonkin.
I'd like to talk about is the IB 20th Century World Topics, which is my history course. And it goes through World War I all the way through the Vietnam War and the Cold War. And I think what's really, really unique about our history class is that it's not reading out of a textbook and hearing a lecture every day. We get primary source material from, we read what the actual people the actual speeches that were said, we read the things that were written during the time, and that's, I think, what a real historian has to do is to bring in all those different sources from the time and put them together and synthesize them into something that makes sense to them and that they can analyze as history. And that was our job as students of history in Miss Wadi's class. There's lots of reading, lots of writing in the class, and I think I've become a much better writer and reader because of that, and analyzer, because out of those sources that we get, we have to figure out what's important. We have to analyze the bias, whether the author had ulterior motives, if the author had was particularly fond of one thing, and that's why they skewed their history, what they were writing, based on what their personal convictions were. And that's why we read a variety of different things. And we learned to almost question the history that we had learned in the past, the textbooks that we got. So that's why history was really a unique experience, and I think that it was much closer to a college experience than other history classes might be.
Es como el parque central de... Okay, vamos a ver.
I like Spanish because I like learning different languages, because that's just something I like.
In Spanish 5, IB students explore the cultures of the Spanish-speaking regions of the world. Lessons and activities center on areas including fine arts, politics, current issues, history, geography, literature, language, and special events found in these countries. The study of a second language adds to each student's understanding of other cultures in a global society.
Theory of Knowledge is a Socratic seminar-style class, which means that students discuss various ways of knowing and ways and different perspectives about knowledge. How do you know what you know? We evaluate what knowledge is from different perspectives. We look at some sort of Greek philosophy, we look at some sort of some other definitions, some other philosophers, about what does it mean to actually say that you know something. Then we look at how you get knowledge. Where does it come through? And it comes through reasoning, or your logic. It comes through emotion. It comes through language, and it comes through your senses, your sense perception, or empiricism. So we look at all those 4 filters and, you know, how does that affect what we know? Then we look at the areas of knowledge. We look at history. We look at the natural sciences, which are chemistry, geology, physics. We look at the human sciences, which are more like anthropology, psychology, economics. We look at math. We look at art, and we look at ethics. We also look at how our lenses, those 4 ways of knowing, affect how we get knowledge in each of those areas and how each of those connects with each other. And what the students bring from each of their classes is vitally important. They bring in the knowledge that they have, they further their own knowledge through discussion, and they come to new conclusions. And they're better able to look critically at knowledge and defend what counts as a good justification and what's not a good justification, and realize that sometimes it's not all black and white, and that it is hard to know, but just because something's hard to know doesn't mean all evidence is equal.
I'd say my favorite course is my IB English class. I love literature. I plan on majoring in English in college, so it's just a good fit for me. And I love my teacher, Mr. Blake. He's really inspiring. I love poetry, and I love the human connection that you get through literature. I think that it's amazing how just a couple words can relate so many different experiences in different people. We've read poetry by Pablo Neruda, Adrienne Rich, Walt Whitman, and I especially love the Romantic movement.
IB English focuses on the connection between the sciences and humanities through literature. In the course, students learn to recognize and explore these connections and gain the skills necessary to investigate, develop, and communicate a variety of ideas through reading and writing. IB Visual Arts is designed to provide visual arts students with opportunities to create meaningful artwork through research, analysis, and evaluation. Students work independently in a structured studio environment where they demonstrate mastery on assessments. Students maintain a research workbook and produce a portfolio of studio work. As a culminating event, students present their work at the IB Art Show.
All my art is reflecting me as a person, and I want to be a designer, so I wanted to influence all the stuff in my inspiration I get my stuff from. I wanted to include that in my paintings, my pictures, my drawings, and then actually have my actual art as my designs. But I took IB Visual Arts because I wanted to not just know how to sew, I wanted to know where everything comes from, because it's not just like you buy it at the store, someone actually makes it and it's inspired by something. And I wanted to know where they get it inspired from.
The show itself has been such a unique opportunity because I've been allowed to take an office in my school, put 75 yards of muslin all over the place, and hang up black picture frames and just kind of go wild and make it my own little gallery, which has just been so much fun. And everybody comes in here and says, oh, it's like a fort. It's so cool. Which it is. I love being down here because it just feels so homey for me, because it's so much about me.
As far as the extended essay goes, each student chooses first an area in which they would like to write their extended essay. Then they get a mentor, a teacher in the building typically, who helps guide them through the process. It is essentially a research paper, but it is a high-level research paper, and the students investigate something that is of interest to them, of academic importance. They write the paper, which is 3,000 to 4,000 words, and that paper then gets sent out somewhere. It may be in the US, it may be in France, it may be to an assessor in Belgium, it can be just about anywhere. And then that person will read and assess that paper.
CAS stands for Creativity, Action, and Service, and it's a program to help you it's 150 hours over the course of 2 years. And it's not, I always describe it as service, but obviously there's creativity, action, and service components. And it's to encourage you to be involved in your community, not necessarily just through doing service projects, but by also doing things creatively. Like there's a board about IB diploma in the hallway, and at least once a year someone will redesign it and and work on it so that it looks nice again. And the action portion, you're allowed to count activities that you do through sports. I coached a field hockey camp with my field hockey coach, so that counted towards CAS. I did a summer work camp where I went down to Maryland and I helped rebuild houses and a deck and paint basements and stuff like that. So that was service, but it just pulls elements from not just service-based things like through National Honor Society, but also making sure that you're getting that that action and creativity portion and still being, it's about being well-rounded. It's about getting exercise, it's about stimulating your mind creatively, and it's about helping your community while you do all of that.